Matthew chapter 24 and verse number 13 is a verse that a lot of works salvationists, hyper-dispensationalists, and anyone who really believes in works salvation in any sense of the manner will use this verse to try to prove that, see, look, if you persevere, if you endure, then that will grant you salvation. That is not what Matthew 24:13 is talking about, and we're going to take a look at this. So Matthew 24:13 says, "But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved." So Catholics and any kind of work salvationists will use this verse and say, see, if you don't endure in your righteousness, if you don't endure and you don't continue on serving God and being faithful all the way to the end of your life, then you're not going to be saved. So they use this verse to justify that you have to basically keep living a good life and continue on for God in order to be saved. The hyper-dispensationalists will essentially say the same thing, except they'll say that this is only during the tribulation, that during the tribulation period, the gospel changes from grace to a work salvation once again, and that they will have to endure and they have to continue, and that, you know, if they don't endure, then they could lose their salvation, or that they could, or that they won't keep their salvation, that they must endure to the end in order to be saved spiritually. Now, here's where context matters, folks. Every verse in the Bible that's talking about being saved isn't always talking about a spiritual salvation. Sometimes it's talking about a physical salvation, such as in Matthew chapter number 14. Matthew 14 verse 30 says, "But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried, saying, Lord, save me." Now, the question is he getting saved spiritually here? Is he crying out to God for salvation spiritually? Is he, receiving Jesus Christ as his personal savior at that moment? No, he's not. He is asking for a physical salvation. So it is important to know that every time you see the word saved, or, in this case, Lord, save me, or salvation, it's not always talking about a spiritual salvation. In some cases, it is talking about a physical salvation, such as in Matthew chapter 24, and I'm going to prove it to you. So verse 13 of Matthew 24 says, "But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved." Now let's jump down and let's read some of the verses after it to see what kind of salvation this is talking about. Verse 16, "Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world, to this time, no, nor should ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved." There's that word saved again. Now, is that saved talking about spiritual salvation? No, it's talking about physical salvation. He's saying, if I don't cut this tribulation short, no one's going to be saved from dying. Everyone's going to die. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So, very clearly here, this whole passage is talking about a physical salvation. He's saying, hey, the Antichrist is going to go on a killing spree when he commits the abomination of desolation. You better run to the mountains. You better hide. And if I don't shorten those days, then no one should be saved. But if you endure to the end, if you survive until the end without being martyred by the Antichrist, then you're going to be saved physically. You're not going to die physically. So you got to figure out how to survive. So again, context is so important, folks. The Bible always explains itself. You don't need to come up with any strange theories like the hyper-dispensationalists do of, oh, well, the gospel changes multiple times. No, that's ridiculous. Okay, it's not in the Bible. You don't have to try to contradict the Bible by saying, oh yeah, works save you, like the Catholics do. Okay, very clearly, just read the Bible for what it says. Okay, and very clearly here is talking about a physical salvation. So during the tribulation period, if you endure unto the end, you shall be saved physically. You won't die a martyr's death. And so you've got to endure. So if you're watching this video and the rapture already happened, endure to the end, and you will be saved from being martyred.